So I'm going to do a quick tutorial on something that I found that I think a lot of teachers will find useful, and it is called Doctopus. So what Doctopus is it is a script that uses Google Spreadsheets to quickly and easily create folders for students and that are shared with their teacher, and also send out assignments. You can then use a separate script called Goobric to attach rubrics to those assignments where you can grade them online. So for those of you having trouble managing the paperwork that can go with rubrics and the time involved, I think this will be a huge advantage. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm logged into my beltonnewtech.org account. I'm going to open up my Google Drive, and then I'm going to go to a separate account just so you guys can kind of see what a student view looks like. And this is my my own personal Gmail. I'm going to open up my drive on there and also my email so that we can see what it looks like from a student's view when I use Doctopus as a teacher. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have my school beltonnewtech.org account. These are Gmail accounts. All of our students have these created for them, which means that they automatically get a drive with 30 gigs of space. And we'd like to, I think it's a great way for them to save all their stuff. If I was a kid here, I would probably save everything in Google Drive, so that way if I drop my computer in a puddle or something like that, I don't lose any of my work because it's all saved online. So what Doctopus is it's a script that runs from a Google spreadsheet. So I'm going to create a Google spreadsheet, and this is kind of a two-step process. What I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is create a roster for my class, and then you create assignments that it sends out to those kids. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a roster. I have to install Doctopus, which I have already done. If you don't have Doctopus, you can click on this little add-ons tab, go down to Get Add-ons and search for Doctopus. I'm going to launch it. It's going to take a minute to think. Doctopus is now ready. It's asking me to select a roster. So if you've never done this before, you won't have a roster. I'm going to build a new roster right here. Now it's asking me to select a method. It gives you these instructions down here. G-class folders and teacher dashboard are both separate Google scripts. I think teacher dashboard is something you got to pay for. G-class folders is old, but it's free. You're welcome to use that. I don't have it. Instead, what I'm going to do, I think this kind of replaces that anyway, is I'm going to do it on this sheet. So I'm going to select that, and then it's asking me to create my roster. And all that's going to do is put the column headers up here that I need to fill out for my roster. So Doctopus recommends that you use less than 40 students. When school starts up this year, I'm probably going to try and just do this with all of my kids for each class that I teach rather than for each section, but I'm not sure what the best way to do that is yet. I guess we'll find out. So let's go ahead and create some fictional students. This first one, I'm going to put their email as my personal email address, and just to show you that it actually works with more than one person, I'm going to go ahead and create another one. And since Doctopus is going to be searching for a Gmail account, I'm going to go ahead and just put my school Gmail account just so it doesn't get stuck looking for some fake email that I put there. So if I was for real, I would keep doing this with all of my students, but let's just do it for 2 for now. Okay, so I'm going to hit refresh, and it asks me to name this roster. This spreadsheet that I'm starting with, we'll change the name on that later. So name this roster something you're going to remember. I'm going to call it Physics 1. And the first time you do this for a particular class, you're going to want to create class folders. You will not do this every time. So here it gives me an example of what it's going to do. What Doctopus, one of the nice things about it is it goes ahead and creates a folder for Physics 1 for that roster. In that it has a teacher folder. Inside that I can find my class edit, which anything I want my entire class to be able to edit a single document, I can just drag in there and it'll automatically share it with everybody on the roster. Anything I want the entire class to see but not be able to edit, I can drag it in there, it'll share it with them. And then it has a separate student folder where it creates a separate folder for each student with me as a co-collaborator. So anything the kid puts in there, I can see and edit. Anything I put in there, that kid can see and edit. And it gives a nice place to submit assignments and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with Echo. I like Echo, but I kind of want more of a one place for everything rather than having to click around a whole bunch of times in Echo. So I like this, but to each his own. So I'm going to go ahead and create and share those folders. All it does now is it creates new headings, and it's going to create a student folder key for each of those folders. It gives you the option for exclusion, so if I want to share things later and not send the same thing to everybody or not send them to each kid, it gives me an exclude option. So Doctopus is thinking, does that sometimes, gives you updates down here, almost done. So I just got an email. So what it did was, I'll go to my student view here. So this is my my personal Gmail account, which I am Victor Von Doom on this. That's what it thinks I am. And if I go to my email, it just sent me an email from my school account, and it says that it's just shared this drive with me. So and it gives me instructions on what each of those folders is. It tells me about that, and it tells me to follow the link below, click add to drive so that it's easy to find in the future. Right now, it's shared with me, but if I go to my drive, I don't see it. I have to click on shared with me, and then I can see it. If I go right here, follow this link, do the instructions that it told me in the email, which is click the blue button. Now I go back to my drive, and I click on my drive, and you can see that here is that folder. So within that, there's the class view and the class edit. Anything I put in there will be shared with the entire class in those two ways. Anything I just put in this folder down here will be shared with my teacher. Anything the teacher puts in there will be shared with me, which is kind of nice. Okay, so that's done. It's saying what it just did. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Roster and Continue. So now I have created a roster and folders for everybody on those roster, and it's automatically set the sharing preferences. Doesn't seem like much, but if you had 120 kids, it could do this all by itself without you having to do each one. Now, we're now ready to create our first assignment, and it's asking me the sharing type. So individual, all the same, individual differentiated, project groups, whole class gives you explanations of what those are. If you do differentiated or groups, what it'll add is it'll add another column up here that says group, and I can put letters A, B, C, D, etc., and then it will share different things depending on what letters that is. You can see how that would probably be useful. Keep in mind, I'm not really making any long-term decisions right now. You do this for each assignment at this point. So you only create all those folders we made a second ago once. But this part from here on out you'll do for each assignment. So this assignment, I want everyone to have their own copy. Later on, though, I might do a different assignment where I want them to be shared with a group. So here's my access questions. It's asking about this assignment. How do you want students to be able to access each other's assignments? I want no for now. Do you want them to be able to edit what I'm sharing with them or just view it? Go ahead and leave edit. I don't want them to be able to change those permissions. If you don't care, you could uncheck that, and then they could share it with other people. Whatever. I could add co-teachers if I'm working with another teacher, and then they'll have the same teacher permissions that I have. So this is all good for me. I'm saving and continuing. Okay, now it's asking me to find my template that my assignment is on. Essentially asking me what assignment am I going to share with them. The first question is what folder is it in? This is a little annoying how they do this. I have to change this folder. I have mine saved in a specific place, so I'm going to go to that place in Drive and look for it. So let's see. Okay, there it goes. So I have all mine in my Drive. This is kind of annoying. I don't really like the way they do this. I'm sure you could set it up so you could search easily. I just, if I go to my Drive, it organizes it the way that I normally have it. I have all my templates in this one Physics 1 right here. So I'm going to select that. And this is, to me, this is the most confusing part, the way they do this. But once you select the folder, now right here it asks me to find what in that folder I want to share. So I'm going to share the physics problem set template that I've created. Save and continue. And I've already gotten an email. Oh, that's not it. Okay, so now for this assignment, I want to go ahead and name this assignment. So I'm going to call this assignment the statics problem set. That's my first homework assignment of the year. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to also send a personalized email to each kid. So you can do by first name, last name, all of these variables right here you can select, and it will pull from the spreadsheet in your email as it creates it. I want to notify the editors, which are the students, as soon as I share it with them, and you can send a personalized note. So I'm going to say, hi, whatever your first name is. This task will be closed for grading. And you don't have to do this, but, you know, why not? And I'm going to go ahead and change this to new physics task. And I'm probably going to, every time I do this, have the same thing so that if students want to, they can search for it, or if they say I never got that, you can tell them what subject line to search for, or you can search for it on their computer to show them that yes, you did, you got it. Hit create new folder. It's going to create a folder for this assignment. It puts this document in it, and so it's going to go in my teacher folder that it's already created for me. Save and continue. It's going to give me a confirmation page before it sends everything out, just to make sure all of these settings are correct the way that I want them to create this assignment, and also the email. So this is what the email will look like. So run, copy, and share, and I should be getting emails over here in a second as it does this. So essentially what it's doing is it's copying that document a separate time for each student and changing the sharing settings on it so that it's shared with me and that kid. So each kid gets their own unique document, shows when it was last edited, which is just now, but if a kid edits, it'll show you when they did it, et cetera, et cetera. So now Doctopus is just asking me back or continue. Not sure why. Okay, so now if I go to my student view, you can see that I just got that email. Oh, sorry, that's not email. This is email. I just got that email right there. It says I'm now the editor of this document. It says, hi, Victor, this class will be closed. That's my custom email, and it pulled their first name. It links to it. I can open it up right here if I want to. And this is just a template that I've created for generic homework assignments. And since I'm a physics teacher, they usually have to do physics problems. So I'll probably post the problem someplace else and just throw a link in there so that I can just use this every time. You can see that I'm also linking to the rubric that I'll be using to assess them. And in a minute, I'll show you the coolest part as a teacher. So let's say I'm a kid and I go ahead and do my homework, and this is the perfect answer, and I'm doing a great job. So you notice that I don't even have to save this. It's automatically shared with my teacher, so they can actually see me type it as I go. I don't have to save this anywhere. Nothing to worry about losing it or anything like that. So I'm done with my homework as a kid. Okay, now, and also I can go to Google Drive, and you can see that in that folder that we created earlier, that assignment is now there. And if I wanted to, I guess if I wanted to throw it in here, I could so other people can see it, but I'm not really worried about that. Okay, so now, as a teacher, what I can do now is I can be done with it. I can grade and view them all just by clicking on these links for each kid, or the other options is you can see that in my drive, it's created this Physics 1 folder like I asked it to. I can click on this to see each student's folder. But what I think is the best thing is I'm going to go ahead and attach a rubric to this using the Attach Goobric button. So let's say a week has gone by whenever it's due. Over here I can embargo docs for grading, and all that means, and I don't have to do this, but all that means is that it takes away the sharing so they can't edit it anymore. So now as a kid, if I go back to that document, where's it at? There it is. Now I can still open it, I can still view it, but you can see that I can no longer edit anything on here. So I can only view my work. That's because it's past the due date and the teacher's grading it. If you want to, you can undo that as a teacher. This is entirely up to you. But what I'm going to do is now attach my Goobric to it so I can grade it. I already have followed step 1 and 2 and 3. You would need to do that. Goobric is just another Chrome extension, kind of like Doctopus. Search for it, you'll find it. I'm going to go ahead and select my rubric that I've already created. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. It's thinking. Now I'll go ahead and attach the Goobric to this assignment. Okay, so it gives you instructions, but we're already done with that. I'm going to show you. Okay, so now I have my Goobric attached. It lists which one it is up here. I'm going to go ahead and go to Mr. Von Doom's work, and I'm going to assess it and give him some feedback. So you can see here's the work that he submitted. Here's the instructions. Up here now, since I've installed the Goobric add-on, I have this little icon, and if this is here, it's showing you that this is a document that you could potentially grade with a rubric. So I click on that. It's looking for the rubric associated with it, which I just put in. And here it is. This is the rubric that I made. For new tech teachers, what I did was I took 2 rows from our professional ethics rubric that matched this assignment. Now, I've gone ahead and edited these so for grading purposes, and you'll see why in a second. But now I can go ahead and assess it. All I got to do is click on these. Does the student meet deadlines? I can pick which one of these it is. For this kid, they got a 4 for that one. And they got a 4 for this one, and I can give them feedback as well. You can see it highlights it on here for me. Great job. And it will also email the rubric score to the student. So I go ahead and submit and paste the document. It's going to email it to the student, and you can see that what it does is it pastes that rubric on the actual document right there, and it shows highlighted where they are in there, and then towards the end it gives me my comments. I can go to Mr. Von Doom's email inbox. He just got an email from me with the rubric, and it has a link back to the document also. So this is a very, very quick and efficient way of giving feedback. Now, wouldn't it be nice if it somehow collects those scores? Well, it does. So if you go to your original document where you did everything, you can see that it now has the columns from my rubric up here, and it has the scores that I put in. So what I figured out that you can go ahead and do is if you wanted to, you could go to this grade column right here, and this is just blank. You could go ahead and create a real easy formula. Let's go ahead and do average those 2 scores, or add those scores together, and then take them out of the possible points. All right, so you can see that Mr. Von Doom got 100. Now this is just this is a cell that I could copy and paste all the way down if I wanted to, if I had 100 and some students. And now every time I do this, it will automatically adjust their score. Now, if I could go back to Mr. Von Doom's, well, let's see. Let's do Mr. Grimm. So Ben Grimm, I also want to grade his, so I go ahead and click on it. And you can see that Ben hasn't even done anything yet. He has not done his homework. Well, I can still go ahead and give him feedback because it's past the due date. I click on that. Does the student meet deadlines? No, he does not. Does the student meet the criteria? No, he does not. I can put a note. And it will email this to the kid automatically. It's going to attach that rubric to it. You can see that's my actual work email address, so I can probably go to that and it will share it with me. Where's Gmail? Yeah, so you can see it just sent this email to that kid. Did you know this was due? Come see me ASAP. And now it automatically pulls in those grades from that rubric and enters those in that column. So if I wanted to, I could let Mr. Grimm go ahead and resubmit. And let's say he resubmits and I want to regrade it. I can go ahead and come back to it. I don't have to make this go away. Let's say his new work is much better. It's late or incomplete. So I'm going to go ahead and get him a 2.5 right there. But maybe he does all of the work that he's supposed to do. So he gets a 4 on that. And I can go ahead and give him a new note. And what it did is it pasted that new rubric below the other one. So the first one's there, second one's there, has the time, so it shows the revision, which is a good thing. Sends that kid a new email, much better, new rubric. And if I go back to my spreadsheet, you can see that now it's updated it with the new one. If you wanted to, you can go to the Doctopus assessment, and you can change this to display the average rubric scores. Right now what it's giving me is the most recent one. I think that's probably the better one to do, but let's say you wanted to average the two together, you could do that and it would average them instead of showing that. You can also go down here to this tab and it'll put all your rubric scores for each kid in a little easier to see where it shows all your comments if you want that view. So I see this as very useful. What I can now do is pull up Echo and go ahead and type those grades in. Let's say this wasn't out of 100 points, it was only out of 10 points. I could do that. And now I know what to put into Echo for each kid's grade. Okay, so now we have created our first assignment using Doctopus and we've created our class folders. Now, that was like a 15-minute long tutorial. I can show you now that after that, it gets much faster and much easier. So, how do you make other assignments and manage this over time? So I have my physics folder that I've created. Actually, Doctopus created all this for me. Let's say I want to make a new assignment. So I would do everything in your teacher folder. So if you go there, you can see that this untitled spreadsheet, that's actually the first assignment we made. I forgot to change the name of it, so I should have done that. So let's do it right this time. So I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to make another spreadsheet. And this is, let's say this is the literacy task for this topic. I'm going to go ahead and name that spreadsheet. I'm going to go to add-ons. I'm going to launch Doctopus. Now this time, instead of creating a new roster, I'm going to go ahead and select the one that I created last time, which was Physics 1. It shows me here's all my folders. That's what I made last time. Here's the kids that are in there. I'm going to use this roster. So you can see what it did. I pulled the kids in from the roster. Now this link right here under student folder is that's the same folder that we already created for them. So it's not creating new folders, so it's nice and easy for everyone to manage. It's going to go ahead and hit next. And now I'm back to my assignment setting. So how do I want to do this? So once again, for this assignment, I would like it to be individual all the same. I'm not going to change any of this. Again, if I did group, it would add a column where I could assign groups to the students. And now once again, this is the annoying part. I have to figure out where my template is. The folder that it's in is in my drive. So I click on drive, and then it's in this one Physics 1 folder. That's where I have my templates housed. After you select the folder, you select the actual document, and I'm doing the physics literacy task template. Save and continue. Name the assignment. I'm calling this statics literacy task. I'm going to create a new folder. You could choose existing if you wanted all of those documents to go in the same place. I'd like to have a new folder for each assignment though. And then again, I'm going to send an email, and I'm going to stick with the same kind of format. You do want to notify them. If you don't check this box, it won't send them an email. So I want to. I'm going to say new physics task, and then my email. Look over that, should all be correct. Run copy and share. And now it will be creating those assignments for every student on my roster, sending them an email that the assignment has been shared with them. There we go. So I can click to my student view in his email. Here it is, new physics task. You know, the editor of this. Hi Victor, this will be due on Friday, etc., etc. And then it is now in his folders. You can see here's the new one, literacy task. Here's the original one. I should have changed the name. Sorry about that. But here's the document. So it's just a generic literacy task template. If I have them put their submission on here instead of just making some random document, it's just easy for me to find because they're all kind of named the same things and I know where they are. Again, you can link to the rubric you're going to use to assess it so they know how they're going to be graded. And I could put the prompt on here for each one of these literacy tasks. Alright, so I'm done making the assignment and sending it out. The last thing that I could do if I wanted to do it right now is to go ahead and attach my rubric so that when I go to grade it, it's nice and easy. And for this one, I'm doing the, I don't like that view, written communication. There it is. Select that one. Attach the Goobric. So now if I wanted to, I could go to one of the kids' work. I could make sure my rubric shows up when I click on the Goobric button. And you can see here it is. So this is a different rubric. This is the written communication one. When you're making rubrics, you can put boxes around this stuff. This looks kind of ugly. I'd probably fix that. But you're really the only one that will see this, because when it shows up on the kids' work, it usually looks a little better. Yeah, see, it has boxes around it here. So my rubric's there, everything's working. Now the last thing, and again, it's sending an email to the kid saying his work has been graded. So you can see over time, if I go back to my Physics 1 folder here, I can get to the kids' stuff in several different ways. I can go to the Physics 1 students. Here's each of their folders. I can click in there and see their documents that way. Or if I wanted to, I could go to Teacher, Physics 1. I can click on each of these problems that assignments that I've created, and you can see their documents are organized in there as well. Or I could go to the actual spreadsheet where it has all of them listed, and I can click on the links to their documents. Now you can see over time, and you could keep this up over the course of an entire year, this folder, this teacher folder, could get pretty big. If, let's say, you're done with something, it's maybe the end of the 9 weeks, what have you, if you wanted to, you have the option of kind of getting rid of it in a way that lets the kid decide if they want to keep it. So let's say this literacy task assignment is said and done, it's all graded, it's in the past, maybe it was last 9 weeks. I can go back to it, open Doctopus, and once something's already created and you open Doctopus, it goes to this tools menu right here. What I can do is I can transfer ownership to the students. And by default, when you create something and send an assignment, you're the owner of it. So if a kid deletes it, they're removing it from their Google Drive, but not from yours. What you can do is you can transfer ownership to them, and then you can remove it from your Google Drive, but the kid still has it. It notifies the student that they're now the owner. And that's it. They have it now. It now belongs to them. If I wanted to, I could go to this, and I could select the items that I've given ownership away of, and I can go ahead and delete those if I wanted to. My grades are already someplace else. You might want to say, I guess you could save this if you wanted to, but you don't really need to keep track of all of their stuff over time when they have it in their Google Drive. It's up to them. All right, and that's it. That's how to use Doctopus and Goobric to increase your workflow with sharing documents with students. Thank you very much.